Bila dah terlambat, some my friends, dia orang dah knee operation, hip operation, itu dah terlambat lah. Kalau dah jaga daripada mula, it will not happen.
Hai, Assalamualaikum semua. Kembali kepada kita punya program Recharge Business with Purpose episod ke-6. Assalamualaikum, saya host nama Izzati Syahira dan bersama saya punya coach Datin Nick. Welcome Datin Nick.
Thank you,
For this
Izzati.
special episode, saya bawakan tetamu saya hari ini, seorang yang saya sangat inspirasi lah, banyak mendapat inspirasi daripada Datin Nick. Dan insya-Allah hari ini kita akan mengupas dan kita nak korek perjalanan hidup Datin Nick and something yang kita nak belajar lah today Datin. Okay, so saya nak memula dengan bagaimana Datin dah start buat bisnes kan. Tapi sebelum tu kita nak share dengan semua, Datin ni punya background sebenarnya daripada seorang jurutera ya Datin.
Yeah.
Okay, Datin specifically engineering in which
Electrical
area?
and electronics engineering.
Wow, electrical ya. Okay, lepas tu Datin dah melalui perjalanan yang sangat unik. From your story, I've learned a lot daripada seorang Ramazaya lepas tu ya. And then ada menjalankan bisnes seafood, skill training courses, menjadi seorang yang contribute balik kepada komuniti seperti orang bajak laut yang hari ni kita nak tahu lebih banyak. So Datin Nick, boleh tak cerita dengan saya, adakah setiap perjalanan ini Datin rasa seperti Allah sedang membawa Datin kepada satu perjalanan yang sebenarnya ingin membantu lebih ramai orang? Boleh Datin share sikit?
Okay, saya mula perjalanan saya sebagai seorang student yang diberi beasiswa oleh Tenaga Nasional. Ya, saya pergi ke UK di bawah beasiswa Tenaga Nasional, di bawah planning untuk Bumiputra. Ya, jadi saya adalah salah satu orang yang benefit orang kata program Bumiputra negara kita. I would like to bring that up, because a lot of people forget that kita dapat manfaat daripada
peluang dan manfaat itu.
Bumiputra dulu.
Okay.
Jadi saya balik daripada UK jadi engineer di Tenaga Nasional. Kontrak saya 10 tahun. Dan saya selepas 10 tahun saya decide saya berhenti, bukan pension, saya berhenti dan saya jadi consultant. Buat kerja untuk masa tu Kuala Lumpur was developing very fast. Bangunan-bangunan besar, bangunan tinggi, jadi consultant kepada developers lah. Buat electrical consultancy. Selepas tu saya at the same time saya decide untuk ini pun daripada salah satu daripada inisiatif kerajaan juga. Di masa tu dalam stockbroking tak ramai Bumiputra. Tak ramai orang Melayu yang masuk stockbroking.
Okay.
Jadi bursa saham, bursa dengan kementerian nak menggalak orang Melayu masuk bidang stockbroking.
Wow.
Jadi kita pun diberi lessons lah, kita belajar malam-malam ada night classes untuk belajar. Untuk saya masuk untuk belajar apa yang saya tak tahulah. Saya engineer, saya bukan orang finance kan.
Something new to you?
A lot of new things for me, quite a lot to learn. I've never traded in my life. So I went to these courses and I became a remiser.
Wow. How long
Okay.
was that?
I became a remiser only for a short while, because after that I was offered to take over or to become a partner dalam satu syarikat dalam stockbroker lah. Jadi saya took over an ailing company yang ada problem. So my husband was a banker, so dia lagi mahir lah dalam financial ni kan. Jadi bila ada peluang tu, kami take over a stockbroking company and pulihkan company tu untuk jadi sihat. Dan selepas tu merger dengan company lain dan jual kepada a listed company. Adalah partnership dan joint venture and that kind of thing. So in that way saya keluarlah daripada stockbroking, dan bila keluar daripada stockbroking saya rasa saya nak buat apa yang saya minat. Okay, my passion.
Your passion, follow your passion.
Yeah, do my passion. I could afford at that time to do my passion rather than work for people or anything like that. So I actually went into publishing.
Oh, publishing.
My passion was gardening.
Okay.
My passion was also food. Okay. So not to say food, I was like it's to do with nature. I like to know, to go into to know the industry of fisheries, to know the farming, because I have this passion for gardening as well. So my magazine called Garden Asia ran for many years. We published about 42 issues, 42 volumes, and that's where I met your father.
Okay,
because I interviewed him when he was the mayor. And Kuala Lumpur, landscaping was something that we enjoyed doing together. So in 2016, I sort of more or less stopped the magazine. We find that we didn't have time for it, because in 2005, I started a flight school. And that's when penerbangan. Jadi kita when we started that, there was a lot of work. So banyak kerja lah. So nak buat magazine ni macam tak ada masa nak menulis, tak ada masa nak buat publication. So
masa yang flight punya school tu, Datin mendapat peluang pada waktu itu, ataupun bagaimana Datin bermula?
Actually mulanya macam ni. Saya ada ramai kawan ataupun clients masa saya stockbroker. Banyak clients daripada different industry. And then some of them were captains of airlines. So they were the ones who actually asked me, would I start a flight school? Because there is a need. Masa tu tak cukup pilot.
Oh, ya ke?
Yeah.
Wow.
So
ni tahun bila ni, Datuk?
Tahun berapa tu? Tahun 1990s lah. 1990s. So but it took a long time for me to get the license. Nearly 5 years. Before we could get the license. Yeah. So 2005 we got the license. Banyaklah cerita tu, panjang. So we got the license and we started the flight school in Kota Baru, my hometown.
Wow.
So we trained pilots initially, but because the company went listing, so we need to have more products. So that's when I went into, kita mula kursus aircraft maintenance engineering, kursus ground operation, ground handling. That's when I got involved with Jabatan Pembangunan Kemahiran. Jadi saya buat NOS untuk JPK, NOS untuk ground handling, NOS untuk aircraft maintenance engineering. So itulah my entry into skills training.
Thank you so much. So hari ni Zati nak share sedikit sebanyak lah. Sebenarnya Datin ni is actually assisting TNL dalam pembangunan kami punya academy. So we would like to thank you Datin a lot for
Most welcome.
all the lessons that you taught us. Macam mana kita nak mempermudahkan lagi proses tu. So Datin, pernah tak Datin consider, you know, throughout this journey, Datin consider macam did you macam ada terfikir tak that today you'll end up becoming a person yang advocate for skilled training ni? And apakah the next question would be, apakah titik perubahan yang terbesar dalam your whole journey yang pelbagai I call it colourful journey.
Contradicting areas, right? Anyway, bagi saya lah, the turning point is when I started the flight school.
Oh, was that?
Because that is the first time I actually go into mengajar atau membimbing. And it's not so much the pilots. Memang pilots tu macam kena bimbing lah anak-anak orang ni. Make sure dia orang pass kan. Make sure that they can fly, jadi pilot. Sebab ibu bapa dah bayar banyak duit.
Betul.
Okay.
Ada harapan lagi Datin ya.
Harapan yang tinggi kan. Tapi bila saya mula ground handling, the reason saya mula ground handling ni macam ni. Bila saya jaga aircraft, because being engineer, so saya kena jaga aircraft, training aircraft kan. Bila saya tengok budak-budak yang my staff employ to maintain, to do the groundwork untuk basuh aircraft, tolak aircraft, tarik aircraft, fuel apa semua tu, dia orang datang, dia orang ambil budak-budak yang macam tak ada kerja, walk in dapat kerja. Dan sebab tak ada pengetahuan dalam bidang tu, banyaklah mistakes lah, banyak buat salah. Bila kena marah, tak sempat sebulan kerja, cabut.
Yang ni daripada zaman dulu ya Datin, bukan orang komplain sekarang je.
Dulu.
Okay.
So saya tengok macam tu, saya kata ni tak boleh. Saya cakap kepada engineer saya, kenapa macam ni? Dia kata, kenapa you marah-marah? Dia cakap pasal tak reti buat. Dia tak reti buat pasal kita tak ajar dia. Jadi bila saya tengok, saya rasa, saya bincang dengan kawan-kawan dekat airlines, dia orang kata airlines pun ada problem macam tu juga. Okay. Pekerja yang datang, pekerja yang daripada foreign workers kadang-kadang. Orang company yang uruskan ground work ni bawa foreign workers, memang tak ada pengetahuan. Jadi banyak kesalahan dibuat, banyak kerugian airlines dapat. Beg tak angkat betul, benda pecah, beg hilang, langgar kapal terbang, macam-macam. Jadi amountnya tiap-tiap tahun banyak yang rugi kan dalam
industri itu sebenarnya sepatutnya ada nearly to zero to error sepatutnya.
That's why so kita decide we need to train. Jadi saya approach JPK, Jabatan Pembangunan Kemahiran, boleh tak kita buat NOS ataupun program untuk ground handlers. Saya mulakanlah. Jadi saya pergi jumpa pengarah, saya minta kita buatkan, saya don't mind, kita buat sendiri, kita ambil orang-orang expert in the field. So we got the NOS for ground handling. Jadi bila sudah NOS dah ada, pengarah kata, macam mana NOS dah ada, siapa nak buat ni? Saya cakap, okey, saya akan buat. Saya dan sekolah saya akan buat. So saya mulalah buat program untuk ground handling. Saya pun pergilah cari student-student daripada sekolah-sekolah yang berdekatan dalam kawasan Kota Baru, dan saya dapatkan budak-budak yang orang kata drop out lah, yang mungkin tak akan pass SPM. Saya cakap kat guru besar, tak apa, tak pass SPM pun boleh, saya akan train. So kita dapatkan diorang and we train under JPK punya NOS tu 6 bulan sahaja. Dan because of that, saya rasa macam saya dah jumpa my calling.
Okay.
That I'm supposed to be a trainer.
Best.
Because when I train them, daripada budak yang drop out, yang tak pas SPM, kita boleh train dia, boleh kerja dengan airline.
Alhamdulillah.
Dengan sempurna, dan airline pun happy dengan cara dia buat kerja. Jadi kita bukan ajar dia pengetahuan ataupun skill sahaja, kita bentukkan dia punya insaniah juga. So basically they become a total good worker. So airlines were happy with that lah kan. So that gave me very satisfaction, very fulfilling. Imagine when I walk up to the aircraft, I have all these ground handlers when they line up and they will tell me, Datin, saya batch nombor 20, Datin ingat tak? Of course saya tak ingat, tapi I'm proud of them. That they could get a job and help their families. These are poor kids. They memang life changing. It makes you feel like you have impacted somebody's life or a family kind of thing.
I think pernah dengar Datin cerita yang one of the pilots called you in kan dekat cockpit, was it? Boleh share sikit ada pengalaman tu?
Yeah, for the pilots usually, this is one funny story lah. One of the parents, one of the mothers told me, because pilots when they start very young, by 20, before 24, 22, 23, because they start at 18 lah after SPM kan. Kursusnya hanya 2 tahun, 24 bulan. By that time they already graduate, dah dapat lesen. So kalaulah kata daripada umur 18, 21, 22 tahun dah pilot tau. So one of the So one of the mothers was telling me, anak dia, one of our students lah, anak dia was a pilot flying as a co-pilot, first officer lah, dengan captain tu, and dia ni kecil. Quite tiny, quite small guy. So he was, when he was taking his break and he was walking down the aisle to the restroom, the passengers were looking at him like, is this the pilot?
Comment.
So the mother said, itulah bila tengok somebody, your pilot, so young, so small, passengers are like...
the first pilot. We're talking about the first pilot, kan?
No,
pilot.
Assistant
pilot, okay.
The captain is different.
Okay, alhamdulillah.
So that's that, the mother was telling me about it. But my trips overseas, I always do come across our student pilots and captains who are either my trainers or who has helped me when he was in the Malaysia Airlines, helped me to set up the school. So there's always like, captain will ask the stewardess, could you call the lady to come into the cockpit? So like going to the cockpit and then suddenly realize, oh, it's you, kind of thing.
Wow,
But
must be
the feeling is like you feel the pride. Not a mother's pride, but a trainer's pride,
a teacher's pride.
And I can imagine why teachers are so passionate about their work, about being a teacher and being a trainer.
To that, Datin.
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah. So Datin, I nak go to the next session for our podcast, which is ramai orang takut berubah, ya Datin? Ramai orang takut berubah sebenarnya. Takut akan perubahan. Bila kita dengar balik cerita Datin dalam fasa-fasa kerjaya, especially untuk Datin, banyak yang dari engineer and then Ramazaya is a totally new thing for you. Kemudian nak belajar something new which is skill training kepada flights, pilots and also yang ground handlers. I'm sure it's something new again. So fasa-fasa yang berbeza dan sentiasa berubah ni. Boleh tak share sedikit bagaimana Datin boleh berani mencuba sesuatu baru dan bagaimana Datin adaptasi kepada setiap perubahan ini? Mungkin boleh share kepada penonton Recharge kita hari ni.
Actually, the main thing is you must have the urge or the, how do I put it, the will to learn.
Okay.
All this is what you call, nowadays we call it lifelong learning. I'm an advocate of lifelong learning, okay? Because I learn everything that I go into. I don't just go into the surface.
Okay.
I always dig deep. Deep, really
Dive deep.
Dive deep, really dive deep. And the experiences I go through is bukan sahaja belajar knowledge. The experiences is to go and experience it. You have to experience it. You have to go, pergi buat benda, pergi macam you hands on. Even macam food processing. Yeah. Saya bina a food processing, manufacturing food processing outfit in Terengganu together with a Taiwanese partner. And he taught me a lot. Dia ajar saya macam-macam. Everything about
Taiwan.
Technology from Taiwan.
Processes,
equipment, and then things about the food itself. Dia ajar saya macam-macam. Like dia pun nak belajar daripada kita. The first thing he asked me is that, what is halal?
Oh wow.
You tell me
Know,
halal. Yeah. Dia interested. Sebab apa? Dia nak tahu sama ada kita tahu tak semua yang kita guna ni halal tak halal.
Okay.
For instance, when dia cakap kat I, dia kata, your detergent, right? Do you know what is
in it? Oh, dia tanya soalan
dia tanya because there could be non-halal things in your detergent or your soaps. It was the first time I know that I shouldn't be using the Dove because it's got lard, you know, that kind of thing. It's that kind of learning. You learn daripada orang lain. Bukan learn daripada apa yang you baca. You learn together. And he teach you, you teach him, you belajar information, you share with each other. And then you got to read. Tun Mahathir always say, read. Kan? Baca.
Quran pun ada mention about that kan, bacalah kan.
Baca. You kena baca. So whatever it is, go deep dive. Whatever you are handling, whatever you're looking at, you must learn. You must learn. So I learned a lot of things along the way. When I was doing stockbroking, I was into charting lah, you know, learning about, you know, basics of, you know, the stocks and all that kind of thing. Kena buat. Kalau tidak, tak faham.
Yelah, so kita kena hands-on learning, asking questions, semua tu lah ya.
Yeah.
Lifelong journey.
Lifelong learning. Lifelong learning.
Betul.
I mean, of course, when...
Saya inspirasi because Datin, at your age, you still learning and mengajar kami teknologi juga. Okay, jangan terkejut. Datin is my coach for technology as well. So, technology and AI, she's the first person yang akan join the class and she's the first person nanti akan share the knowledge. Thank you so much for that, Datin.
You're
so,
most welcome.
We're moving forward to another section mana I nak tanya you. Datin, along your journey menjadi seorang usahawan ini, you selalu take up a new job or role. I nampak, okay? Tak tahulah, maybe it's a peluang ataupun bidang terjun ataupun ada keperluan di situ. Salah satu cerita yang saya tersentuh adalah di mana seorang bapa approach, kita akan sorokkan identiti. Dia approach Datin untuk membantu anak dia yang sebenarnya orang ingat dia ada apa Datin?
Macam OKU lah, Down syndrome.
Orang ingat OKU Down syndrome. Tapi bila Datin berjumpa, Datin bercakap kepada ayahnya sebenarnya dia ada kemurungan yang serius. Jadi dengan itu Datin menjadi life coach kepada anak tersebut dan membantu memulih relationship antara anak dan ayah. So boleh share sedikit tak about how you took up the role? Was it something yang you nampak it's a need, a serious need that you need to help?
Actually, because the parents wanted the child to do something because he was 18. He needed to go into ada sambung belajar ke atau belajar skills ke, tak tahu laluan nak, sebab he didn't understand sebab apa anaknya tu tak nak pergi ke mana,
tak nak keluar rumah,
tak nak keluar rumah, tak nak join apa-apa. So dia pun bawa anaknya jumpa saya untuk join ground handling course. Dia ingat kalau boleh masuk skills training, eloklah kan, boleh start kan. Jadi bila saya masukkan dia dalam kelas, saya nampak dia bukanlah boleh belajar dan boleh pergi kerja, not yet, not capable, because cara yang saya nampak dia memang ada kemurunan. Manic depression. Manic depression. So saya tanya bapaknya, boleh tak saya bagi dia life coaching, sebab bapaknya pun nampakkan anaknya ada respon dengan saya. So dia kata tolonglah kan. Jadi bila dia respon, saya pun tanya budak tu, would you like to do life coaching with me? Dan dia sanggup. Dia kata okey. Dia pun tak tahu benda tu apa, tapi saya pun mulalah bagi a bit of knowledge and then get him interested about his life. Sama ada perasaan dia macam mana. Dia ceritalah perasaan dia selalu macam marah-marah. Jadi tak tahu kenapa. Marah tu pun tak tahu kenapa. Jadi banyaklah perkara yang similar to whatever happened to people who have manic depression ni kan. So gradually dengan cara normal, natural way, saya make him understand yang dia kena tukar cara hidup dia, lifestyle dia, instead of going gaming at night, tidur properly, have good sleep.
Circadian body clock tu.
Circadian cycle. Teach him about his circadian cycle, apa semua. So gradually dia pun ikut. Alhamdulillah dia ikut, and managed to get him to be having a better relationship with the parents, and he could, so I okay, you're better, because manic depression people, you can see straight away. They don't look at you in the eye. They look down on the floor.
Is it ada berkenaan dengan confident juga ada?
It's to do with self tak ada self esteem, so low self esteem, and the growing up also. When parents expect too much out of children, kadang-kadang the children feel they are not enough. You have to make sure that your children know that they are enough, that they can do it. But don't expect, don't show them that you expect too much out of them, kan?
So macam push dia datang.
You can stress.
Thank you so much, Datin, for that. I memang inspired with that story, and because of that, alhamdulillah, the relationship between the dad and anak dah pulih, dan insyaAllah kita doakan semoga mereka lama-lama boleh ada bonding lagi yang lebih baik. Okay, Datin, another one of the story I memang excited and macam wowed me was the story yang you're doing sustainability program with Bajau Laut people. So I was, masa Datin, we've been sharing stories a lot. Bila Datin dengar story tu, Zati macam, wow, Datin, macam mana Datin boleh come up with this? I mean, I know I'm doing a lot of macam-macam juga, Datin, but at least it's within Klang Valley, for now. And one thing is in Bajau Laut. And how did you start, and what inspired to do this?
The thing, sometimes I think it's the divine intervention, maybe. I don't know. But the thing is, I actually had no idea that these things existed, that in our country we're supposed to be already what do you call
Developed country.
developing. Okay. We went to Sabah looking at the possibility of doing green energy.
Okay.
Yeah, actually it was my spouse, my husband, interested to do green energy, do the solar power stations and all that. But and it was based on tendering processes and all that. But I wasn't interested in that because that is a business that I left long time ago. When I left Tenaga, when I was a consultant, I did a lot of tendering exercises for projects. I wasn't interested in that. I was more interested in what I was told about the scarcity of electricity and electricity yang tak sampai kepada certain people, certain residents lah, certain citizens. And I found out that kampung-kampung yang waterfront villages lah, dia tak dapat tenaga elektrik. Dia kena generate, tak ada elektrik, dia kena generate sendiri. Kebanyakan mereka guna genset. So saya ada perbincangan dengan what you call Suruhanjaya Tenaga dan engineer kat sana. Dia kata saya boleh minta lesen untuk bagi generate electricity dan distribute, buat pembahagian elektrik kepada kampung-kampung ni. Dan salah satu daripada area tu pulau, di mana kebanyakannya orang Bajau lah kan. Di pulau tu pun tak ada elektrik juga. Tapi tak ramai penduduk atas pulau tu dalam orang kata kampung-kampung di atas pulau tu. Jadi saya tidak pergi sendiri. Not capable of travelling that far. So I send my partner. Dia yang buat solar power. Saya tak buat solar. Saya buat distribution kan. Jadi saya cakap nama dia Chen, you pergi tengoklah. Boleh tak kita buat? Kan. So dia pergilah tengok, dia balik cerita kat saya, dia kata, Datin, kita kena buat benda ni. Hati saya, dia kata, it's time we give to society, because dia tengok, dia kata it reminds him of the time masa dia growing up in Melaka, hidup without electricity. Dia cakap dengan saya sekarang, he's a businessman now, successful businessman, buat solar energy. So dia kata dia nak, kalau boleh kita buat sama-sama, buat bagi projek untuk the villages, yang waterfront villages dan juga kampung-kampung di pulau-pulau. So sekarang kami tengah menguruskanlah macam mana nak dapat perlesenan, macam mana nak dapat approval daripada agensi berkenaan supaya kita boleh buat projek ni. Projek ni is like rural electrification lah. Kan? Saya biasa masa saya dengan Tenaga Nasional, saya jaga Kuala Lumpur punya electricity distribution. Saya consumer engineer masa tu. Dan banyak kawasan setinggan yang saya jaga. So with that experience, saya bolehlah guna untuk bagi supply kepada orang ni. Macam kampung-kampung ni macam kampung setinggal lah ya kan. Kampung
Hidup
atas
yang
air.
susah. I think daripada Datin ada melawat rumah
Yang yang pulau tu saya tak pergilah, tapi yang atas air tu memang kita nampak lah. Yang kehidupan bagi saya, untuk memberi elektrisiti, untuk memberi tenaga elektrik bukan susah. Kita boleh buat. Tapi yang daripada itu saya ingin nak buat lebih pada tu. Saya rasa mereka patut diberi bekalan-bekalan basic kan, basic necessity, air, kebersihan, sanitation, semua tu patutnya diadakan. Jadi basic needs. So itulah saya pun sekarang involve juga dengan ESG project kan. Saya nak buat ESG projects. Jadi Dr. Noh has been teaching me. Saya belajar dengan Dr. Noh macam mana.
Dr. Noh juga.
Belajar dengan Dr. Noh macam mana sustainability project can be done. Macam mana nak buat ESG project. Pasal ini semua banyak yang kita kena buat
together as a community.
With the community, kita banyak kerja, banyak kena buat data compilation, nak kena buat macam-macam yang the physical, what do you call it, the paperwork tu banyak juga. Dan saya tahulah sebagai distributor of electricity memang banyak yang kita kena buat. Kita kena set up the outfit tu memang macam mini tenaga like that kan. We have to do that as a supplier, generator, electrical punya producer and distributor. Memang banyak kita kena buat. Tapi on top of that,
back end tu banyak perkara yang perlu.
Banyak. And then on top of that, now kita kena tambah pula ESG. Banyak documentation.
I think Datin tu sedang nak mengusahakan kemahiran juga di sana.
Kalau boleh, bagi saya lah, kalau kita buat distribution, generation, kita perlu tenaga mahir. Kita perlu orang yang duduk di situ buat kerjanya. Jadi saya minat, ni my ambition lah. Saya ingin nak set up skills training kat situ. Boleh ajar orang jadi electrical,
Wendy, kalau ada rezeki saya nak ke sana nanti. I want to have a look myself.
You should come. So basically we need to do that. We need to set up training centers untuk nak locally, orang lokal akan maintain. You kena maintain the distribution network. You kena maintain the solar punya ni. Maintenance tu perlu.
Apa yang dah bina tu semua, segala yang kita dah bina tu kena maintain.
Kena maintain.
Okey Datin. So apakah yang masyarakat umum ataupun kita punya viewer hari ni boleh belajar daripada kehidupan orang Bajau yang mungkin kita dalam arus kemodenan dan semakin laju, hidup yang laju ni, apa yang we can learn from them?
I would say they are very orang yang very, how do you put it, resilient, right? Very resilient kan. Dia hidup dia dalam air. Dia
orang boleh apa ni duduk bawah air dan lebih lama daripada orang biasa.
Somehow either dia punya body the lungs adapted to that. So dia, bagi saya lah, dia kerja dia tangkap ikan kan, tangkapan laut. Kalau kita boleh adakan electricity, adakan tenaga elektrik, kita boleh tolong build industri yang boleh guna freezer, yang processor. Jadi boleh dibuat satu macam community industry, something like that. Yes, insyaAllah. Lebih daripada, because giving electricity is just giving electricity. It's nothing difficult. Ya. Tapi untuk nak bina community supaya community tu ada have a higher standard of living, ya, dan anak-anak boleh pergi sekolah, anak-anak boleh communicate with the outside world. So that's my vision lah. Basically that's my
tolong
vision.
call me in anything that I could help lah yang kecil-kecil
Definitely.
ataupun mana-mana yang Datin rasa
You might want to
boleh.
you might want to get their seafood into TNL.
Yeah, I would like that. I mean, okay, so Datin selain daripada itu ya, Datin juga mempunyai minat yang dalam bidang botani dan juga kesihatan. And I've heard that you did research on curing, especially sebelum ni Datin pernah mengalami kesihatan lah, ujian kesihatan. Dan bagaimana Datin nak sarankan kepada viewer kita hari ni untuk taking care of our body, mind, also lifestyle kita ni. Badan kita ni nak guna lama ni kan Datin.
Betul.
So macam mana kita nak kekalkan kesihatan yang optimum Datin,
Yeah.
with the the natural way.
Okay. This is something I have been working on personally lah. Sebab saya had personal health problems daripada muda lagi. Daripada sekolah, saya memang ada allergy.
Okay.
Saya allergic to everything. Allergic kepada cosmetics, tak pakai makeup.
Tak apa, you look naturally beautiful.
Allergic to soaps, allergic to semua. Jadi tapi tak tahu kenapa ya. Tak tahu kenapa, dan bila saya membesar, saya
mengenai dengan eczema Datin?
It's
Sedikit
something
sebanyak?
dulu orang kata eczema.
Okay.
Orang mula-mula eczema tu tak keluar macam on the skin.
Okay.
Only bila pakai sabun reaction datang. Okay. Bila pakai makeup ada reaction. It was just the body reacting. So it wasn't eczema yang keluar, yang macam orang dapat eczema ada macam-macam kan, rashes and all that. Saya tak ada benda tu, tapi later saya selalu ada problem dengan gastritis, problem dengan malabsorption, bermaknanya anemia, tak boleh absorb iron. Okay, all these are signs that something is not right. Okay, and then later I got eczema, the actual eczema. The doctor call it ectopic eczema. The tangan kat sini, then kaki menggelupas, oozing, gatal, tak tahan apa semua. Guna krim doktor apa semua not really menjadilah, cannot cure. And then lepas tu saya dapat cancer. Tapi stage 0. Breast cancer stage 0. So saya bagi saya something is wrong somewhere. And the eczema, definitely is like telling me that something wrong kan.
Signaling.
So the eczema still continued. So when I went to see, dah give up dengan skin doctors, I went to see my GP and say help me with this itch. I cannot stand it anymore. Lepas tu dia bagi wash, and then dia kata wash it lah. Then dia cakap you got fungal infection, dia cakap. Okay. So bagi saya fungal infection ni dari mana? Dia cakap dari dalam. Tapi dia tak elaborate. Jadi saya pun balik, saya Google lah. Saya
buat research mode
online. So went into that research and I discovered that the possibility through one of the alternative doctors in America, dia kata you have leaky gut syndrome. Leaky gut syndrome ni perut, tali perut kita macam bocor.
I see.
So all the toxins come out and go to the rest of your body.
Okay.
So that's why the immune system kita kick in lah. Start showing all the signs of the eczema kan. So it got me into a lot of research. Saya find out how to cure it, how to
Sebenarnya
get it.
awal-awal tu saya ingat Datin backgroundnya botanist.
Memang saya suka go into because of the garden magazine. Saya went into my editors were all people from the university, professor daripada botany, horticulture, all those.
When you dapat research juga on that.
Yes.
And coming to the you tengah research on how to cure you punya
my
symptoms semua tu
symptoms of
kan.
leaky gut. So I found out a lot about it, and then mulalah gunakan cara-caranya, and it all boils down to pemakanan.
Pemakanan.
Ya, pemakanan. And pemakanan yang nombor 1, gula.
Gula. Okay. Kepada penonton,
Gula.
kita tengah nak breakdown, dapat tips daripada Datin bagaimana kita dapat menjaga kesihatan secara general ataupun menyeluruh lah.
Yeah.
Apa pendapat Datin?
You just look after your food. Jaga pemakanan.
Okay.
Dulu saya ni kira macam gourmet jugalah. Makan benda yang very I go everywhere I travel, I look for things that very, exquisite. Very what you call exotic. Makan macam-macam. Tapi daripada kecil, saya orang Kelantan, makan manis.
I see.
Gula tak tinggal.
Okay.
Ya, dessert semua gula. Kan? Everything is sweet. Jadi gula tu dia adalah makanan candida. Candida dalam perut kita tu dia makan gula. Dia jadi membesar. Dia yang menjadikan kita punya leaky gut. Dia yang causing the leaky gut.
So the thing yang betul Datin mula perasan bila Datin yang naik all these rashes
tu. Bila eczema tu dan cancer tu, saya realise something is wrong. And through this alternative doctor, saya belajarlah, saya ambil courses, macam mana saya ambil courses sampai hormone courses pun saya ambil.
Datin, kita tak sabar nak Datin especially tak sabar nak masuk your botanist class or learning about all
learning
this.
About your
how to jaga kita punya kesihatan untuk.
So you have to know your digestive system. You must know what other organs.
From the stomach balik
start from the stomach. Whatever it is, your gut.
That's why dia kata kalau apa-apa start with a gut reset dulu.
Your gut must be healthy. Okay. Your digestive system must be healthy. Sebabnya digestive system kita ni bukan perut sahaja. Dia include limpa, include pancreas, include gallbladder, semua tu ada. Jadi kita punya liver kalau tak sihat, cannot cope with the filtration, dan toxins tu all over the place lah. Itu menjadikan kita tak sihat. Jadi kena jaga makanan. So because every time
nanti nak buat macam-macam and we want to go to our days as a parent, sebagai pekerja ataupun usahawan yang sihat. Betul.
So once you set your way of diet, your eating habits, you set it in the correct way for your whole family, for the children, because kita dah daripada kecil, a lot of kids don't like vegetables. Tak akan makan vegetables kan? Kan budak-budak tak suka vegetables.
Is it because of the taste?
Cucu saya tengok green aja give up. Tak nak makan. Jadi but vegetables is required. You have to the green, leafy greens you must eat. So a lot of berries, all this many things lah yang kita kena look at. So now I look at food not like the gourmet way. Dulu I look at food, taste, okay, presentation, what it looks like, does it look delicious, okay? But now I look at food differently. I look at food, what's the nutrient in this one?
It will actually nourish our body kan?
What is the purpose of eating this? Does it give you fat? Does it give you
So you question before
protein?
makan, betul?
Yes.
Wow.
When I choose food,
Betul.
I choose what I need. what my body needs.
What your body needs at that moment.
It's a different concept already. It's a change of lifestyle actually. It's a change of lifestyle. So bila macam you tanya how like this, how to do it, banyak orang yang nanya, saya pun I decided to make to write an e-book.
Yeah, we were waiting for that. And then kepada semua viewer, InsyaAllah bila dah keluar e-book ni, nanti akan wawakan InsyaAllah.
So I wrote the e-book just to let people know.
General how nanti?
Basically, it is concentrating on helping people to get rid of their eczema and at the same time cure the leaky gut. And then overall, it's for your general health lah. For people to
have mention a little bit about sebenarnya as we are growing, macam we are aging, kita makin sebenarnya kena lebih peka dan mengambil tahu how badan kita ni react to certain food and macam mana nak menjadi lebih sihat secara keseluruhan.
So you have to start early because sometimes people can I have a lot of friends.
Maybe delay kan ada.
Bila dah terlambat, some of my friends dia orang dah knee operation, hip operation, itu dah terlambat lah. Kalau dah jaga daripada mula, it will not happen. It shouldn't happen.
Sebenarnya ni nanti akan affect a lot of things kan, macam darah tinggi,
all that will come in.
Jantung, macam tu. That's a hard one. Tapi tak apa, kita kena lebih peka and waiting for Datin punya e-books is coming up. Okay Datin, selain daripada general health, botany and all yang you've done, one thing yang I nak share is about how you take the technology seriously, which is you are going for AI classes. You are also training people AI, and today later we're doing a chatbot punya session dengan my coach Datin Nick. So how do you think that the people, if some of them yang masih belum mengadaptasi teknologi dalam bisnes ataupun kehidupan harian mereka, what would be the best way to start? I mean, probably dia akan some people they overwhelmed with a lot of information, learnings. Sekarang banyak pelbagai classes AI di luar sana. Kadang-kadang bila kita nampak terlalu banyak ni, kita shy away juga Tapi how do they start actually?
Okay, kebanyakan orang bila kita kata AI, you guna AI tak? Yeah, I do.
Typical one.
Yes, I use AI. What do you use? ChatGPT kan.
Prompting ChatGPT.
Using ChatGPT all the time. So it's good. At least it's a start. A start that they know that using ChatGPT they can help them to make things faster. Write your letters faster, put up your proposal faster, and all that kind of thing. But in your whole business, the business that you're running, if you don't embrace the use of technology, the AI technology, then you'll be slower than other people who are using it, right? Because there's a lot in your business that you can actually, you boleh percepatkan atau you boleh buat dia lagi senang by automation, kan? Banyak yang you boleh buat. Tetapi kebanyakan kursus-kursus yang dia mengajar online ni, they assume that you dah pandai. You dah pandai certain basic. You dah pandai, so bila dia mengajar tu, dia mengajar benda tu macam quite high level lah. Itu menakutkan kebanyakan orang. So like
dia rasa macam AI sebagai ancaman?
Bukan sebagai ancaman, dia rasa macam susah nak belajar. Some of them, one of my clients, dia memang tak go into technology. Bila dia join the class, dia kata, I join 2-day class, 3-day class. Tapi I come out more confused because basic belum dibagi. Anybody
start daripada foundation
anybody 45 years and above, okay, will not have the basics already because all the basics are now learned by the young people very fast. So bila young people yang expert in the technology, bila dia mengajar orang, dia tak realise that orang tua-tua ni dah behind in the the basics. So that's why when I teach basics first.
Okay.
Yeah, we start with basics, regardless of whether you already using AI or not.
Dia
You
macam
have to
membaca, Datin, macam you don't suddenly baca Lord of the Rings punya buku
Yes,
by J.R.R. Tolkien
yes.
tu.
You have
You have to start with macam marilah membaca
Yeah,
dulu.
you kena tahu, and also when you start using AI tools, you actually have to know what is the strength of each one. What is the use of using this one or using that one? So some people think, okay, I got ChatGPT already. I don't need the others. I got
Tools,
ChatGPT.
but banyak
Tak
tools dia,
boleh.
Datin.
Banyak tools, tapi you cannot just use one tool because one tool might not be able to do the other things that other tools are
Other tools
using.
capable.
Yeah.
Okay.
So sometimes when I use ChatGPT, then I also use Claude, and then I use also Midjourney. Basically, they are complementing with each other. Then only you can actually do your work. Basically, that's how it should be done lah. Tapi the basic is a lot of business owners, especially SME owners, they're not familiar with this technology. So bila nak belajar, kena belajar daripada bawah kan, daripada mula, basics kan. So bila you attend course yang dah advance, you masuk kelas, you nak tanya pun you malu. Orang I umur 76 masuk kelas nak tanya orang, all these young people know everything already. Nak menanya susah. But I have the advantage because I do represent an AI punya training school, training courses punya daripada Singapore. So my principal kat Singapore ni dia banyak courses and he wants me to promote dia punya courses. So before you can promote, you must know what they are, kan? So I attend some of dia punya courses too, and as my son put it, Mummy, you are promoting AI courses. Do you know what they are?
Ya, Mom. Mak dia terkejut.
Mak dia takut mak dia promote something that she doesn't know anything about. So it's like and he's also he used to work in that area as well, so explains to me a lot of things, you know. So when
Tati nak tanya, your son have he joined your classes before? I mean for the AI one.
yeah, he has been learning training under AWS and all that kind of thing. So he's more knowledgeable lah kan. So trying to drag him in to do some training.
Wow. Okay.
Because when you hear all the words that they have, the jargon, the words that they use in AI or in even IoT, you know, that you know that word is being used by everybody, but what is it?
What
What does it mean? What does it?
How do you apply that in our
how do you explain blockchain?
Wow.
Okay,
That's a lot. I wouldn't know that.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
I mean, if you go and attend a course and somebody tells you, you know, a certain word that, how are you going to ask, actually, what does that mean in the middle of a class? Would you do that?
Okay, Datin, kita dah ke seterusnya. Datin, dalam pelbagai usaha yang Datin dah ceburi semua ni, bagaimana seseorang nak mengimbangi antara, sustainability punya project and also profitability? I think that is something yang, especially business owner yang ingin lebih kita nak contribute kepada sustainability punya program. Benda ni kena weighing lah kan, kena mengimbangi. So how do you give tips to those yang nak start, and how do we go about that?
Okay, I think people have a different impression of sustainability, that if you do sustainability or ESG, you don't have profit.
Okay.
This is what people think, right? But it's not true. You can actually, you will be saving a lot sometimes if you go into sustainability way of business. Your ESG and your sustainabilities, it gives you profit, more profit. Sometimes it's cheaper to do.
Macam kita jimat. petrol, ke
Yeah.
lokasi, boleh buat online instead.
You jimatkan. So my proving factor was when I was a consultant to a Japanese lady who had a durian farm.
Durian.
She got a durian farm. And being Japanese, dia tak suka chemical. So dia cakap dengan I, can you be my consultant? I want to change my farm from chemical to organic. Okay, chemical to organic. So a lot of people tell me, tak boleh lah, it'll be too expensive lah, and this kind of thing. So I said, never mind, let's get started. First thing I did was stop all the chemical buying, okay? No more chemicals. No pesticides, no herbicides. We just stop it. So the workers do not have those things to use. So I started training them to do organic fertilizer, organic herbicide, organic pesticide. I train them. But you use the materials that are in the farm. What you have.
Okay.
You don't have to buy anything. Jimat. So she was telling me, the Japanese lady was so happy. They cakap, I spend berapa ratus untuk chemicals. Now I don't have to spend. So it
saves.
It saves.
Yeah, bagus lah. Mengimbangkan, dan dekat cost dah kurang, then profit we can see that, maybe not there and then, tapi probably moving forward akan nampak. Tapi Datin, itulah kita, I nak cakap ni, kita dah nak penghujung ni Datin. I tu pula nak stretch lagi, tapi we are at the end. Cuma nak last one from me is that what kind of legacy ataupun legacy yang Datin ingin tinggalkan kepada generasi muda. And following you has been amazing for me. I learned a lot daripada setiap perjalanan Datin. Apa yang sebenarnya Datin nak sampaikan kepada generasi muda, dan what is the message yang you want to share with us?
Okay, at the moment now, I don't have much time left in my living time lah, katakan, because I'm 76. How long more can I work or do my contribution? So my mission now is to pass all the knowledge to whoever young people that are willing to learn and wanting to take it up. So this is why I'm sort of like pushing you to get your accredited center. I have another lady that also I'm making her do the accredited center, so that the knowledge of the skills training boleh pass down to you all, so that you boleh continue, so that the young people can go for skills, add on the skills training, not just the particular one that you're doing. As you go along, technology masuk, AI masuk, so you take all the courses of AI and then make sure that it grows. And the same thing with the other my other client as well. I do that for them as well. So hopefully that's I will settle that in that part of the skills training kan. But for the health punya area, the wellness, I would call it wellness. This is why I started making the ebook, because I think I have to put it in writing. I also have to put in writing, I think, another one which I would like to start working on with elderly care. Okay? I'm lucky in the sense that, unfortunately I'm aging, knowing the problems of aging myself. I'm experiencing aging myself, and at the same time I find the solutions. Right? So I want to put that into writing so that people can always refer to it. Say, if you have problems, old people got problems with their teeth, gums and things like that. And there's a solution to it. Elderly care punya problems yang
Manual kan?
some
Yeah.
elderly care have got its own
Challenges.
protocol or manual for people who are teaching elderly care or people who are running elderly care center. But those are things which are the normal way to look after old folks, that kind of thing kan.
Yeah.
But people who put up these manuals are not old folks.
Yeah. They haven't got the experience
So
being
they
old
don't
yet.
have the experience of being an old folk. I have the experience of being an old folk. So
Itulah Datin. Okay, I'm
need
so
to do
happy.
that.
Yeah, I'm so happy if you dah keluarkan tu. I akan definitely share dengan kita punya penonton di luar sana. Satu last message from you and maybe one nilai yang you rasa memang everyone should, ada the same pegangan juga. Ada last word from you for this podcast.
Okay.
InsyaAllah ada rezeki kita bagi Datin lagi.
Actually, this is something coming from an elderly person lah, an elder. Whatever it is, kita berserah kepada Tuhan. And kita must admit that whatever comes our way is God's way of showing us what we should be doing, right? The journey, the pathway is shown. The guidance is shown. Definitely, the guidance is there. It's from Allah lah kan. So you have to take note, follow it, and then work on it. Yeah. Always be curious. What is the next step? What can you find out from this? If something comes along your way, why did it come along your way? Why did I happen to go to Sabah and see the, what do you call, the islanders and the villages? I mean, it's something that has been thrown my way. It's not something that I look for, because I've left my electrical works long time ago, my consulting a long time ago. It's got no relationship whatsoever. But when it comes your way, don't just let it pass by.
The peluang itu adalah kemungkinan Allah yang hantar kita ke sana.
You think of it that way.
Wow.
So don't sit back and say I'm retired. I need to sit down and do nothing. You know, you will make you sick if you do that.
Okay, kita dah di penghujungnya. Terima kasih kepada jemputan khas special saya, Datin, my coach, Datin Nick. Thank you so much semua yang menonton. Dan kita berada di TNL hari ini. Dan kita bersama dengan Family Coach. Nanti saya akan ada sesi viewing dengan coach saya. So thank you so much untuk program episod 6 Recharge Business with Purpose. Thank you so much.